You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hey there, welcome to episode 287 of the Soul Forge podcast.
Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soul Forge.
Well, gang, it's another exciting episode with me, your host, Sean. No guests this week, and it's just a bit of an update from the last week or so, what's been going on, and it's been pretty exciting, let me tell you. So, the last 2 weeks, I had on vacation, because it was the 2 weeks of Easter, and if I can, I always take those off from work so I can get the 2 stat holidays to use as lieu days later on.
2 weeks.
So if there's an emergency or something comes up, then there's a couple free days and I don't have to use my sick days or whatever. And so that's what I did this week and the last week. What did I do? Well, the first week I stayed here in Sault Ste. Marie and just did my own thing and looked for Hot Wheels and watched some TV and just lived my life and enjoyed the weather and all that kind of stuff. But the second week, what did I do? I took a drive up to Timmins, my old stomping grounds where I lived for 19 years. Of course, you all know I've been back here in the Sioux for a year. So what did I do? Well, I headed out on the Tuesday and I came back on the Sunday. And on the way there, the weather was beautiful, the sun was shining, the traffic was light, and I actually saw 2 moose hanging out on the highway. I almost never, ever see any animals of any kind except for birds and squirrels and chipmunks and stuff. So to see a couple of moose, that was pretty fantastic. And then spent 5 or 6 days in Timmins, visiting and all that kind of good stuff. And where did I stay? I stayed at my building. You remember about 1.5 years ago, almost 2 years now, I bought a piece of property, an investment property, because what I wanted to do was rent out the 2 units and use the front unit as a toy shop. However, I got all depressed and left Timmins and came to the Sioux, and so that never came about. So I've just been renting the thing out. And this week I was visiting my good friends Heather and Johan, and I was talking about it. All of a sudden I decided, you know what? Maybe I'm going to put it up for sale since I'm never moving back to Timmins. So that's exactly what I did. And there's been 2 showings so far, and I guess we'll see what happens. But basically what happened was Dakota and Steph were renting the apartment part from me. And you remember Dakota. She was on an episode not too long ago. Her and Luke. She moved to the States to be with her man. And actually an update on that. She the last time I had mentioned anything, she had 2 weeks to stay in the States and had to come back, and then she could go back again. So what happened was Luke's parents flew up from Arizona to Milwaukee. They rented a car and drove up here to the Sioux. They weren't here very long. They came here and they tried to call the border, like 7 or 8 different phone numbers, and they couldn't get a hold of them. So they just went right across again, and Dakota got an extra 30-day extension. So she's right in the middle of her 30 days right now. And what happens is either they wait for the proper paperwork for the fiancé visa and all that, or they get married within that 30 days. But if they do, then Dakota is stuck in the States for 2 years and she can't come back no matter if there's a funeral or a wedding or what happens. So we don't know what she's going to do. They haven't decided. I'm assuming that she's just going to get married and say, screw it, I'm doing this thing and I don't have to come back, and hope nobody dies. So once I know what goes on, I'll let you guys know. So anyway, Dakota was living in my apartment with her roommate Steph, and now it's just Steph. So I stayed in Dakota's old room. So I had a whole place to myself, except for Steph being there in the basement. So I had a base of operations. I didn't have to stay on anybody's couch, nothing like that. It was pretty fantastic, actually. My own little pad. So that was nice. And I got to see a lot of friends. Actually, one of the days I stopped in to my old post office working building, the old crew. Not everybody was there, but there was a good amount, and I walked in and it was like I was a celebrity. Big hugs and handshakes and all kinds of questions, and everybody was asking, oh, are you moving back? Are you coming back to Timmins? And of course, no, I'm not coming back to Timmins. But it was great to see the crew. It's changed so much in a year. Like half the people there were brand new. I don't know what happened. I guess it fell apart without me being there. But I didn't get to see everybody because some people were on holidays. But it was still nice to be there for about, I don't know, say 45 minutes or so while I didn't have to work. And I could watch them work and catch up and chat and all that kind of stuff. And actually, on this Saturday, what happened was there was the Timmins Comic-Con, which I used to be on the board of directors of. And Laura Vandervoort was the special guest star. And of course, she's an actress from Bitten and I think Smallville and V, the series, and a few other things. So she was there. She looked pretty bitchy, actually. I guess her flight was delayed and she didn't look like she was having too much fun. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I hadn't been to the last Timmins Comic-Con last year, and so I was there this year. And once again, all kinds of people that I knew from before. Once again, like a celebrity. Hey, Sean, hugs and handshakes, and it was great. I saw two of my exes there as well, so that was a lot of fun. Not awkward at all, so that was good. What else happened? Got to hang out with my buddy Renee and a few other friends, and just catching up and hooking up with friends is pretty fantastic. There's Max. He's walking along. Hey, Max, you have to make your click, click, click sounds. Come on up on the couch. Come on, get up. There you go. That's quieter there for you. So yeah, it was a great time. Had a lot of fun. I actually didn't buy anything when I was there except for some food. So, I don't know what's going on. I guess I could have. There was some things that I was interested in, but I don't really need anything. So that was nice. You know what else is nice? This promo for another podcast right here on the ESO network.
Attention, people of Earth! Looking for a way to kill half an hour every week?
Try the Flopcast. It's a silly podcast about cartoons, music, comics, movies, obscure pop culture from the 70s and 80s, and chickens.
Join us! Bring coffee!
We're on the ESO network.
And we're at flopcast.net.
And wasn't that a fantastic promo out there, gang? Aren't you just going to go check out all those episodes of whatever show I put in there? Of course you are. So what else is happening? Let me think here. Timmins, I didn't feel as depressed as when I was living there. And maybe that's because I knew I was only going to be there for a few days and I could come back home here. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe the crazy pills I've been on for the last 14 months have kicked in, and everything's fine, everything's great. Maybe that's what it is. Or maybe I've just turned a corner and I've got a nice sunny disposition. I don't know. But for whatever it was, I was feeling great. It was good to visit. The weather was fantastic. It was like 27 degrees Celsius, which I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's a lot. I had forgotten how bad the roads in Timmins are, actually. Potholes everywhere, like big enough to swallow your car. And the dust in that town was horrendous. I don't know if it's from the road debris or what it is. But yeah, it's, wow. It was like I was drunk driving all the time because everybody else was in the potholes. And yeah, it's... like here in Sault Ste. Marie, the potholes are bad, but it was probably 10 times worse in Timmins. So definitely don't miss the town. It was definitely good to see some of the people. I didn't get to see everybody I wanted because of schedules and whatever. I got to see my son quite a bit. And then, of course, on the last day, which was Saturday, I went over to his house and was chatting with him and stuff. And I'm like, what do you want? Do you want to go out for? You want to go to the Comic-Con, buddy? He's like, well, no, there's going to be too many people there. So I'm like, okay. You want to go for a milkshake? No, I'd rather just play my video games with my friends. Oh, are you all visited out, chum? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, that's fair. Because we did do quite a bit of visiting, and he's 17. He's a teenager. He just wants to do his own thing, so I didn't bug him. But got to talk to his mom. Of course, that's another ex of mine, but that doesn't count. So yeah, that was good visiting. And when I came back here to Sault Ste. Marie, there was no snow. Well, just in piles and in shady parts. But it's all gone. And when I had left, there was still lots. So that was a nice surprise. And today, as I'm recording this, is Monday, April 17th. And holy cowboy? I don't know. 2 weeks off of work, and then I came back, and it was heavy today. I had utility bills and Canadian Tire flyers. So lots of mail and heavy. So that wasn't fun to come back to after not walking 28,000 steps for
2 weeks.
But anyway, I survived it, and now I'm recording this episode. I'm really kind of tired, so it's probably not going to be a super long episode. But the one thing I got to do was on the Friday, I got to go over to Heather and Johan's, and we had our traditional cheese fondue dinner. That's something that we always do when we're together. And then we watched episode 9, season 3 of Star Trek Picard. It was out on the Thursday, and I had no way to watch it because Steph and Dakota didn't have cable or anything. So I had to avoid spoilers for an entire friggin' day. And it's not easy. Like, back in the day, there was no spoilers, and now it's all spoilers because everything's on the internet. So I did manage to avoid all the spoilers. We watched the episode, and holy crap, it was fantastic. Episode 9 of Season 3. I don't know if you're a Star Trek fan or if you like The Next Generation or not, but it was an amazing episode, full of fan service, but not in a bad way. There's one more episode to go coming out this week on Thursday, actually when the day this episode is released, so I can't give you any spoiler-free updates on that. But I don't know how they're going to wrap it up with one episode left because it's pretty intense.
Everyone these days could use a little support, and your friends at the ESO Network are no different. With the ESO Network Patreon, the cool thing is when you help support us, it's you who will benefit. With 4 tiers starting for as little as 25 cents a week, you can listen to some of your favorite network podcasts early, hear exclusive content, maybe get some ESO swag, or even possibly take a shot at the geek seat. All you need to do is sign up at patreon.com/ESO Network.
So when I was coming home, I left on Sunday, so that was yesterday, and my buddy Corey in Sudbury is halfway between, and I never go that way because it just takes a little bit longer. So for any geography buffs out there, normally what I do is I take Highway 101 to Chapleau, and then Highway 29 to Thessalon, and then Highway 17 to Sault Ste. Marie, or vice versa, reverse, whatever. But Corey had said, why don't you come to Sudbury for a coffee? We haven't seen each other in a long time. So I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. And then the next day I read that, actually, the highway from Chapleau to Thessalon was closed due to emergency culvert repair work. I guess there was some flash flooding. So luckily it wasn't just a trip through Sudbury for no reason. I got to stop and visit my buddy for an hour and a half or so. That was nice. And then I stopped at Toys R Us just to see if I could find any Hot Wheels. And there were probably a couple thousand in the store, but not a one that I wanted. It's all the stuff that I can get here. So nothing special, nothing exciting. I probably didn't look at every single one, but I looked at enough just to see that there was nothing that I needed or wanted for my collection. The only thing I got during that week, other than food, was the new set of 5 Batman type things from the dollar store. So I got those. And then the day before I left, I had seen on the marketplace on Facebook that a guy here in the Sioux was selling the Tesla Cybertruck for $5. So I'm like, I'll be home tomorrow. Is it still available? And he's like, yes, it is. So I picked that up, and I'm sure I've talked about this in years past, that when the Cybertruck came out, I really, really wanted it, like the real one. But of course, that's way too expensive and ridiculous. And I don't know if they're actually ever going to build the thing. And I didn't even know they made a Hot Wheels of it. So now I've got a Hot Wheels of the Tesla Cybertruck. It's pretty neat looking. It's ridiculous. I'm sure it would be awful in real life. But there it is. What else? What else can I tell you? Star Trek Picard, Hot Wheels, Cybertrucks, visiting, catching up with friends and family, back to work. Yeah, that's pretty much what's been going on. I did watch the movie 65 when I was in Timmins. That's the one with, I'm going to get his name wrong, Adam Driver. I wanted to call him Adam Brody because he looks like Adrian Brody. But Adam Driver, who played Kylo Ren in the latest Star Wars trilogy, he's some kind of alien guy, and he crash lands on Earth in the time of the dinosaurs, and he has to save a survivor of the shipwreck. And I'm glad I didn't go see it in the theater, but it was an enjoyable hour and a half or whatever the heck it was. So that was all right. Other than that, I'm thinking that's pretty much it for this week's update. I don't really know anything else. Hope you're all out there doing well and everything's great. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I hope you'll check out Rusted Robot Toys on Etsy, because I have to go pack up an order right now, actually. And other than that, follow me on YouTube and soulforgepodcast.com and all that kind of stuff. So I hope you take care of yourselves and each other. And until next time, remember, sometimes fear does not subside and you must do it afraid. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Soul Forge Podcast. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we hope you'll tune in again next time. Remember that you can visit soulforgepodcast.com for all of our social media links, and don't forget to share the show with everyone you know. The Soul Forge Podcast is your best source for living your best life.
Think about it.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.